I'm stronger than I've ever been before.
When you're feeling weak,
We're stronger,
we are strong.
we're stronger
Stronger than we've ever been.
than we've ever been before.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Stronger with Armstrong podcast series. I'm your host, Eddie Armstrong, and today you are joining us live and direct from the great city of Helena, Arkansas. On my drive this morning, I was elated to get down here to interview a now friend. It's Arkansas, folks, so you just never know how connected you are, but indeed a young living legacy in the food, engineering, science industry. Mr. Harvey Williams.
Hey, thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us today. It's not just about joining me on Stronger with Armstrong. We are showcasing the strength, the resilience, and ultimately, hopefully, the unity of Arkansans.
Yeah.
What makes us more bound together than we can appear to be separate in most cases? Given my thread of political solace, I love it when I hate it, and I hate it when I love it. I have to stand on principles to know that we are united by the greatness of what we bring out of this state. So thank you so much for giving us time today to come down and learn a little bit about Delta Dirt.
Yeah.
For those of you all out there not from Arkansas, we are rich, wealthy, some would say, with people and the capacity of minds to love, nurture, and cherish great things coming from our great state. So today, Harvey, man, thank you for having us here at Delta Dirt. I wanted to start by asking you to tell us a little bit about the history of Delta Dirt. But before that, tell us about Harvey Williams, the father of two, the husband of one, fellas, and the business owner and success story. Tell us who you are today.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for coming down to the Delta and spending some time here at Delta Dirt. I'm the father of three. My wife and I have three children. We have two that are in the business with us every day.
Word.
But our daughter is also with us as much as she can to support us. So
We're grateful. And daughter out there, hopefully if you watch this episode, I've got a son, so we forget no children.
That's right.
Shout out.
That's right. Yeah. So I am a product of the Delta. I came out of the neighboring town just north of here, Marianna, which I'm very proud of coming out of Marianna. I grew up on a farm nearby here in Phillips County, which is where my grandparents raised their family and the extended family of grandkids and great-grandchildren. So I am happy to be back in the Delta. I will tell you, I've been 25 years removed from this community. I've had a successful career beyond the state of Arkansas, and have lived all over the country, and did a stint even in the Netherlands for a while. And I'm happy to be back and really to build a business, build a brand, and then build this community in the process, which I didn't see that part coming, but I'm really happy to be a part of this revitalization effort that's really taking place in not just Helena-West Helena, but Marianna, Marvel, this community, this Delta community.
I tell you, Delta Dirt, I want to know where the name came from, but there's something in the dirt, in the water, in the air. I felt it. I know of richness from this region. Talk about that. Talk about the name Delta Dirt. What is going on? And you don't have to give it away. I ask most of my interviewees, what's the secret sauce of your leadership style? But because I know that the Delta made you, it's not just your leadership style. What's in the sweet potato pie mix? Tell what y'all doing down here to make so many leaders and icons, from music to entrepreneurs to CEOs to secretaries of transportation in the Clinton administration, just tons of successful stories. What's going on down here?
I don't know. I grew up in an era that you knew that you were cared for when you went to school. My parents had parents and grandparents who were not far removed from a sharecropping slavery generation. And their pathway, they were told and preached to them that their pathway out of poverty and out of the poverty of the past was education. So, this community produced a number of educators. They were headed to AM&N at the time, or wherever they could go to seek opportunity. And then many of them became educators, teachers. My mom was a school teacher for 30 years in the school system, but many of the men and women came back to the community, were educators. And then guess what they did? They poured into us. So when we went to school, we knew that our teachers cared about us. We knew that they were teaching for tomorrow. And we were the benefactors of that care. And yeah, you're right. I mean, my class, which I'm really very proud of, that class of '86 in Mariana, we had 2 valedictorians, not just one, and several salutatorians. So everybody was competing to be the best that they could be. And and we were just one class. You know many from this area, and they're just people who have talent, and that talent gets cultivated and nourished, and we're able to contribute to our own communities, contribute to society, and help grow our own families.
I want to unpack a proportion of that. This is a symbolic week we're in, and sweep it under the rug, talk about it, don't talk about it, woke, unwoke. I don't care.
Yeah.
Stronger with Armstrong is about strength and resilience. And as we embark upon Juneteenth, and I think about the history and heritage of the Delta, and the roots of what farming and agriculture, and particularly sharecropping and cotton, and the struggles, we talked about this earlier, the great-grandparents and the grandparents, likely one removed from slavery. Out of that tragedy and those struggles, how has so much come through, like you said, this education and this willingness to take care of and pull each other up by the bootstraps, and now you coming back and hopefully others reinvesting? That's quite a story, especially even given reading the story of your great-grandfather and your father and your grandfather. What does that say to the evolution of this resurgence in the Delta when you think about all of that as we lead into Juneteenth this week?
Wow, that is a lot to unpack. I mean, my great-grandfather, sharecropped this land, 20 miles from where we sit. And my granddad, they had this hope and aspiration that they would own their farm, own their land. And he was able to do that. I mean, sure, picking his cotton, making his moonshine. People found different pathways to success. They were creative. They were had a lot of ingenuity, perseverance. It took community together, helping each other to lift themselves out. No one was doing it alone. But I just feel like they were so resilient, and they laid down some strong, solid foundations for us to stand on and walk into that freedom, walk into that Juneteenth spirit of celebration and celebrating each other. Now we've got some ways to go. We've got some work to do, but we should be reminded that Juneteenth as a celebratory moment should be recognized as freedom to be ourselves and express and grow and develop and be creative and create like what we are creating here.
Sure, you're right.
Yeah.
Pathways to success, opportunities. I'm a father. I'm a proud father. You're a father. You mentioned coming back. A, being a business owner and growing a successful business. B, making certain that you left something for your family and legacy. And C, giving back to the community. For young people out there, I ask this question of all of my guests. Given the multiplicity of new engagement opportunities and distractions, you've raised your children now to be adults and moved all over the country. All of these distractions, what would you say to encourage them on this pathway to giving back to this community or the broader community when you talk about resilience and wrapping our arms back around the young people of tomorrow the way that so many did to get 3 valedictorians in one class in 1986. What advice would you give to young people to encourage self-hope, resilience, and being able to see themselves in a position of success in the future, especially given the times they're in?
I think the first thing they should remind themselves is that they're standing on shoulders of strong people. They themselves.
How do you get them to see that through social media, though? That's
Yeah.
the quagmire, and I'm
Yeah.
working on it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
coming to you directly.
Yeah. But they are strong and resilient themselves, and they stand on the shoulders of strong, resilient people. So it's in them to be that way. I think we're going to have to invest our time and energy back into these young people so they can, know that for themselves and get bits and pieces of confidence that they can do that.
You said a mouthful real quick.
Yeah.
And the young people today, it's a little slang, but I like it because it's so true. They say it's in me, not on me. And a lot of these young people today tend to believe that the first piece of jewelry or the pair of shoes or the car, the things that are on them, the nice phone or the belt are the things. But in essence, you just said it's ineptly already in them, correct?
It is in them. It's in them. And we just have to help them to bring those things out, because it's coming out, but it's not coming out in the positive ways that we'd like to see. But it's in them, and we have to help, in my opinion, help them bring those things out. Which is why my wife and I are committed to raising spirits in the Delta. That's our tagline. Sure, we're raising spirits, but our intent is to raise people's hopes and aspirations about doing more and what people are capable of doing. My sons are here, and you're right, I am a proud father of 3. 2 of them are here in this business, helping us to grow this business. And I can tell you, it parched their lips that they said, I'm not never moving to Arkansas. I know it's where we're from. I know.
I wondered if they struggle with that.
Yeah. And the part that they struggle with is, having lived in Chicago and Dallas and Cincinnati and different places. My son even, stayed overseas for a couple of years working. And then coming back here, it does feel like a step back in time. But what I'm trying to instill is a sense of pride, purpose, and there's going to be more here. But you are responsible, at least for as long as you commit to, you're responsible for helping bring that more and help create what's possible in this community. Because if you ask someone 5 years ago, was it possible to have this in Helena? They would have told you no. But I think it's so much more that's possible here. There's no reason why we can't have thriving businesses and these young people running those businesses. I want them to reimagine their community different than what it is. Even agriculture, you mentioned agriculture, right? This is an agriculture community. I think to some extent it will always be an agriculture community, but it won't be what it used to be. I can venture to say 80+% of the food that's grown in this community is not food that you and I are consuming at the dinner plate.
Correct. I'm aware of this.
If you're looking for an onion or potato or carrot or something, that's not what's grown here. But why not? Why not? I mean, I have visited California. It's a beautiful state, but why can't we grow our own food here instead of having that transported from there or Florida to here? This is rich soil. These are good people. This is a good area and good community. So why not transform your thinking to think, you know what? Imagine a portion of the land in the Delta growing the food that feeds America. What does America start to think about the Delta then? What do the people in the Delta start thinking about themselves when they're feeding people all over the country? Because we can grow potatoes, onions, carrots, whatever it is that we want to consume at the dinner plate, we can do it right here. I just want us to rethink what's possible for us to do for ourselves, our community, and the country.
It's quite pragmatic.
Yeah.
And it's the tale as old as time. It's what our grandpas and grandmothers would used to say when they say nothing's new under the sun.
Yeah.
And before I learned how to automate as you do, the chicken process, and a granny talking about ringing the chicken and growing cabbage and having potatoes and tomatoes and okra all in their one little plot.
Yeah.
And all time at my grandmother's house or my folks in Scott, these things happen. And an opportunity now lies in this rich soil.
Yeah. What was king in this community? Cotton was king.
But before that, what was growing out of that ground? These same crops.
These same crops. Yeah. And if cotton could be king for the country and even across the world, we were exporting cotton all across the world, right? So that has fallen out of favor. And we haven't really replaced that with something that's going to rethink and repurpose the Delta. I mean, part of why we don't get the kind of investment here is because we haven't figured out as a community, as a people, how to monetize the Delta in such a way that adds the kind of value that we can bring to ourselves, bring to the community, right? We are taking sweet potatoes and turning that into an award-winning spirit. But you could take that. There's a young lady, even in this state, who has a pickle business. And she visited and saw what we were doing. We're taking a raw material, processing that, doing some value add to it, and producing a finished product. She contacted us about a year after she had visited here and was so excited. And she was excited. We were excited for her. She said, I am now an urban farmer. I'm growing my own cucumbers for my pickle business. We have rich soil here that can grow cut flowers. You know, most of the cut flowers in this country are exported. That's right. They imported here to this country. But we can grow them right here. Again, not just feed, but then beautify the country.
And efficiency for energy and environment.
Yep.
You are now controlling your clean air quality. Quite interesting, and we could unpack hours. And we're going to do hopefully a tour.
Yeah, of course.
And see how this is made.
Yeah.
And I love the reimagine. So I was really fortunate to grow up in North Little Rock at a time when my friends and I band together.
Yeah.
And in the small community of Argenta there, we reimagined that area of downtown Main Street and walking and living and restaurants and food and homes within the neighborhood. And it was entrusted by young people. We were in our 30s then. So I'm about to build there. Several of my friends live there. But in each of these towns and communities, do you feel like, I think I recently read that a lot of young back-end millennials and Gen Zers, I think, by credit of maybe what your sons are going to do and your daughter, to encourage people, cost of living, safety, though not the bustle of all the things you get in an urban area, creating your own nostalgia. Springdale, Arkansas, Bentonville, Arkansas, Rogers, Lowell. We've watched these towns re-engage the same way I feel like when we pulled up here on Cherry Street, that I feel like Helena and the Delta are going to do. In your opinion, what do you think?
I think
I see it, and I actually feel it too.
And I think it's going to be a combination of people from the outside coming in and seeing that,
of course,
helping the people in the community see it, but also be able to take steps toward that. I don't know if they understand the pathways to make those things possible and make them happen. But if this was Springdale, and you mentioned Springdale or Northwest Arkansas, if Helena-West Helena, where we are right now on Cherry Street, was Northwest Arkansas, they'd get the think tanks and the critical thinking, they put them in a room and they say, you guys got a couple of weeks, unresource constrained, figure out how we're going to turn this town around. First thing they do is look at the resources that you have available. Natural resource. We're sitting on the river. There are towns that would die to have themselves placed right along a waterway.
Mm-hmm.
So take advantage of that waterway and build restaurants and river paths and those type things. This is also home of the King Biscuit Blues Festival. Not just that festival, but blues musicians that originated here across the Mississippi Delta, and they have played and became famous all over the world.
I know this.
Yeah, right. So
blown
why
away.
not?
Can't wait to do the story on Stax and Al Bell.
Yeah. So why not have blues music and genre here? There's the local community college.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to learn the genre of blues music, and you have artists in residence, you come here, whether you're in Germany or Australia, and you learn blues music, and it's somewhere playing, and people are crafting that art up and down this street.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a historic downtown street here, both Cherry Street and Walnut Street, and we'll get into the history of Walnut
Can't
Street
wait.
too.
If you just give us an abbreviated tour, I'll have to see these two today. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Keep going, though. I hear your vision, and I love it. This is great to unpack with you.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Go ahead
Sure,
if
go
you had
ahead.
any more.
No, we're good.
This is about the future,
Mm-hmm.
and to some degree. What do you see and what excites you around this potential resurgence? When I know this is possible, I see it happening, I believe it is possible. How do you start that? And here, for my audience, I'm asking this because I'm going to unpack this briefly.
Yeah.
We've just passed laws at the state level in government that are encouraging economic development in districts and regions like this. So they're tax incentive dollars, very similar to the old TIF dollars.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're right here off of the water, and what's getting ready to happen with technology and data centers up and down the Mississippi Delta and in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
As these things in technology and this data-driven industry moves along to bolster billions of dollars in new jobs and economic development, from as far as Osceola, Helena-West Helena, West Memphis, Pine Bluff, Southwest Arkansas, all right now happening in our state.
Mm-hmm.
What excites you the most about the future when you think about a technology boom, an efficiency in land and waterway boom right now in 2025? What are you most excited about with all of this converging on Arkansas at this time? And where you're positioned. It's quiet today. It won't be in 5 years.
Yeah, and that I am excited about. We hoped that these things would happen. And if you can't tell in my conversation, my exuberance for revitalizing and making more possible in this community is evident. But I the pandemic showed us that we can work from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It showed that there is more in the country, in rural America, just like there is in the cities. So I'm excited that people are seeing value in coming to this part of the country. People are leaving city life for maybe not that there's problems in the city, but there's comfort. There is cheaper cost of living. There is a good quality of life. There are good people. So I'm hopeful that they see opportunity here. You've got natural resources and water, electricity, the things that businesses would need to support. We've got Wi-Fi that is now helping level the playing field when you can connect people electronically to each other. And even our business now, we have an e-commerce platform that people can order our product online. And we struggled when we first moved here because we didn't have strong internet service, but it helps the rural areas to be able to level up
Mm-hmm.
and connect to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about all of the interest and investment that potentially to come. And we'll see down this street in this area, business after business.
Ladies and gentlemen, young people out there, I don't want to hear this about no jobs, no opportunities. They're out there. Regardless of the party, there's been about $500 million awarded in funding for water and infrastructure development. I know that towns like this are going to reap benefits for that. There'll be jobs there.
Yeah.
This data center opportunity, there'll be jobs there. Other opportunities are coming. When we come back, we're going to dive into scalability, investment into the community, and how your family honors with the legacy of Delta Dirt through your process of distilling this great international award-winning vodka.
Awesome.
Great. We'll be back, sir. I want to talk about your family legacy and the process. You know, we've talked about the pride and what excites you about the future here. I don't know if you got the book in that, but Delta Dirt being a part of the evolution of the resurgence of the Delta and Helena. Talk about scalability, you know, in today's marketplace. I'm reminded of a statement that Al Bell recently made on the Stax Soulville USA documentary that he learned from Winthrop Rockefeller. And he told him that, Mr. Rockefeller told him that the majors will do 3 things along this journey if you are great at what you've been great at with Delta Dirt. Number 1, they will try to buy you out. Number 2, they will try to copy you. And we know with AI, things have sped up. And if they can't buy you out or copy you, they will destroy you. And that made my hair, it still does make my hair stand up to think that a record label like Stax had to go up against Columbia Music and CBS to really be destroyed. So when we think about scalability in 2025 and your sons leaving something, where do you imagine or see Delta Dirt growing with all the bigs that could come and either buy you out, copy you, and Lord knows we don't want anybody destroyed. But this is capitalism and this is business. How are you all preparing for that? What do you see yourself in that for the next generation to be able to learn, whether it's sweet potatoes in the vodka or the next best okra? Tell us what your thoughts are on scalability and creating another you or creating another Delta Dirt.
Oh yeah. We I mean, the way you phrase the question in terms of those 3, I've thought about those, but not dwelled on them in to the extent where it becomes kind of a perilous thing. I've thought about it in to the extent of what we are planning to do ourselves and grow our own business and stay focused on that. You know, my granddad had the mission of owning a farm. He did that. My dad had to hang on to that farm, and he diversified the farm. We went into the vegetable business, not because he, wanted to do that. That was a matter of survival. Us doing this innovation with spirits will allow the farm to go another generation or 2 and beyond, because it takes the farm to grow the products that produces a product that the world hasn't seen. Yeah, they may come, and what we're doing is trying to scale. These 2 brown products that we have, those products aren't produced anywhere in the U.S., anywhere in the world, because no one's been brave enough to put sweet potatoes in a bourbon spirit, which I can't call this bourbon whiskey because it has sweet potatoes in it. So we're calling this Arkansas Brown, and we're clearly familiar with the Kentucky bourbon guys, the Tennessee whiskey guys. I want them and the rest of the country to be become familiar with Arkansas Brown. So we are scaling sweet potato growing at the farm. We're scaling production of sweet potato spirits here. And I want to continue to grow the brand, make that a household name. We have trademarked this brand, and to try to secure that says, hey, this is Delta Dirt, this is Arkansas Brown, this is our farm, our family, our legacy. Even the vodka, even the proof is intentional there. I told you I graduated high school. My wife and I graduated high school in 1986. But my grandfather, when he bought that farm out of sharecropping, it was 86 acres. And it's right on the proof. I can tell you the same thing about deep roots. That's my granddad living on in that bottle. A big boy can't come and create what I've done here with him buying that farm in 1949, him being born in 1906. That proof is 106. If you turn that label around, turn this bottle around, you'll be able to see my granddad's portrait in the back of that label, in the back of that bottle. So you just have to be authentic to yourself, to your family, to your farm, to your history, and to yourself, and do the best you can, help others along the way. And we've done that. I mean, if someone wants to do something, I have been generous with my time and my talent, and so have my boys, in helping someone else. But we intend to make this a household brand. My middle son has a degree in international business. So guess what he's thinking? This brand is going to go overseas. We are going to be in international markets. And I'm good with that. Let these young people go as far as their minds and their visions can take them. I'm perfectly fine with that.
You hear that? You hear that? Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. We're about to get into these deep roots and these sweet roots of this Arkansas brown. And to all of my friends, you talk about being generous. To the People's Last Stand in Dallas, Texas, to the culture in North Little Rock, Arkansas, to my friends in Chicago with their cigar bars, John and Tremont, and my man David over at the culture, and Dre P. Get you some deep roots. Get you some sweet roots. This is ours, Arkansas brown. Let people know in your regional cities, St. Louis, Dallas, of course, Plano. I mean, I was just with you guys. We should be sipping on this and sharing cigars. So Christmas is around the corner, and in July. Encouragement. Let's take a glass and sit back and continue to build on conversations of how we are making the next legacy builder. So I can't wait to unpack how deep roots, sweet roots, the 86 proof is made. We're going to get into a behind the scenes look with Harvey Williams here at Delta Dirt today, man. This is solid, man. I can't thank you enough. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more in just a second. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, streaming platforms, and be sure to subscribe.